Attention, Fiona Patten is the convener of the Australian Sex Party. Make her welcome, everybody, if you could.
Thank you. Now the first thing I want to do is take a photo of you guys, if you don't mind. If you do, just turn around. I think it's just fantastic to see so many people who have come out on this issue. And as Danny has said and went into great detail about, it's not like this policy is workable in any way. But from the sex party's point of view, yet again, sex is being used as the demon. You know, you say, hang on, I don't want you to blacklist Debbie Does Dallas, and we hear, oh, you must love child pornography. We're in the same boat as child sexual abuse. So material that is currently legal and can be sold from any newsagent in Sydney to an adult will be blacklisted under the current proposal. So we're sending censorship back about 30 years. And this happens all the time, you know. When video first came in, or film censorship came in, it was far more stringent than censorship of the written word. Then when we saw computer games come in, well, you know, you can't even have an adult computer game in Australia. And of course with the internet now we're seeing the same thing. So it's, as Danny was saying, we seem to be being run and organised by absolute Luddites. And when they talk about 10,000 sites being blacklisted, I don't know if they've Googled sex recently, but I'm afraid there's actually a few more than 10,000 out there. So the notion that they're going to blacklist material that is currently legal and also equate it with child sexual abuse, I think sends an incredibly terrible message to people who are suffering from child sexual abuse, that's saying that child sexual abuse is the same as non-violent erotica. So we, and Danny's up, so we sort of say, hey, you know, sex is good, you know. Thank you, yeah. And honestly, I mean, I think sex is always used as the demon because it's a great one that people kind of get a little bit embarrassed about and want to mumble, and certainly I've never heard a politician say anything positive about sex. I've seen them giggle occasionally when I've said the word sex, but you never hear them say, geez, it's a good and healthy pastime. Thank you. The other point I wanted to couple of points I just wanted to make is the Danny's point about saying that this could make things worse. All of the Australian webmasters who provide sexually explicit material, of course offshore, thanks to Senator Alston's 1999 legislation, where he was going to ban pornography in Australia as well, by making it illegal to host adult material in Australia. So that made a difference for about, 10 minutes, while we just moved hosts. But in doing that, most of the adult sites in Australia and most adult sites overseas, commercial ones, they don't want kids on their site. They don't spend money. They don't contribute to the adult conversation. So why would we want children there? We don't. So most sites are restricted to adult labelled, they're ICRA labelled, they're all of these things which, if the filter was to go through, would actually probably make them rather easier to find. So you might see the people avoiding using those RTA labels, using those tools that the filtering companies provide. So we can see that those sites actually it will make it easier, as Danny was saying, to access adult material. And I think the final word is just that crazy decision about The Simpsons. Now, if we'd seen that on a wall or on one of these posters, Bart Simpson having sex or doing the doggy with someone, you know, we would have laughed. But because it was on a computer, it was child pornography. You know, because it was on a hard drive, somehow that made it incredibly illegal. When I heard it, I actually went and looked on, I did, you know, Bart Simpson sex search on YouTube, and believe me, there's quite a few images of Bart Simpson having sex on YouTube. So of course that could mean that YouTube would be blacklisted because that material would be classed as child pornography. So you couldn't think of a dumber way to spend spend hundreds of millions of dollars. And as with Danny, and I'm sure with most of you, I'd love to see that money being spent prosecuting people who abuse children and allowing Australian adults the freedoms to decide. Anyway, thank you, keep it up, and hopefully we may see some sensible law reform. Although we still have the Australian Christian Lobby and Family First in the Senate that will be doing their very best to keep the filter alive. But I think groups like this really send a really great message to the government that it ain't popular down here. Thanks, everyone.